Hello and welcome to another review for filmandgamecomposers.com. I'm Meena Shamaly, and today I will be taking you through Zapzorn's newest offering in sound design and soundscape creation called Solstice Blue. So I've been kindly provided with an NFR copy from Zapzorn to help do this review, and I've written a little track to kind of demonstrate what can be done in the context of a finished piece of music. On their website, it sells for $79 and is available for Kontakt 4.2 or later. Has to be the full version, so it will not work in the free player. And we'll get into it. So I've got it loaded here in Kontakt 5. Full version, so you won't see it on the library tab. You can either have to load it from the files tab or the quick load browser if you have it set up. So let's get into it. I'll show you the track and we'll go from there. So that's the track, just a little piece called A Home Long Gone. I feel the need to tell some of these titles because I think they're interesting. That's not really. I came up with the title after I came up with the piece. Now, this piece was probably pretty quick and pretty fun to write because one of the main features of this library is that you can randomize almost any parameter. And if you have a look at the middle here, there's this red button. This is the master randomizer. Randomizes anything in the library. So I'll go through the actual interface and the sounds that it comes with. So you can have a look. So we'll open up a new instance, Zapzorn. And in the file structure, you can see they have tonal presets, atonal presets, and there's a very healthy number of these that they've crafted. So the value of the thing is also in the presets they've given you. But there's also sort of an init patch, a patch that is completely blank, default, and you can go from there. So this is what it sounds like when you get it. Let me just turn it down a little bit. And so you open it up and it's got one of the sound sources loaded. So this is the sound source browser. And there are I think it says they're 24. I haven't counted these. But these sound sources, you can choose any one of them. So you got... So these are pretty straightforward. And then if I put that to none, you've got two different sound sources as well. Here you got the Y sound source and the X sound source. So X, I'll turn that up. And these are the more atonal things. So these sound sources are tonal and these sound sources are more atonal. And see how there's a little infinity button next to each of these parameters? That's the randomizer. And you can, here you can cycle through the different sound sources in a random order. Problem with a randomizer is that it'll just sometimes give you the same few sounds and then we'll jump to a different one. And see, it doesn't matter which key you play, it'll still be the same sound. And you got the Y sound sources. So I find the distinction between them, and that maybe that's just me, is that X is a little more synthetic, Y is a little more organic. There's a bit of both in each, but I feel that X has a certain quality and Y has a certain quality, and then your sound sources, you have a certain quality. So what we can do is, we can choose one of these sound sources, for example, resonate. So pretty standard sampling, and you got an envelope. So attack, decay, sustain, release, pretty standard stuff, so... And then what do you got? We got filters. So this is some pretty standard sound design stuff. And the randomize button here cycles between a high pass, a low pass, and a band pass filter. So right now this is a high pass filter. Low pass. I think this is now band pass, yep. And if you hit the wrench, you can see once you randomize something, what it's actually affecting. So if I open up the script editor, and here we're randomizing the filter, you can see it turning on and off the different filters that are available. And yeah, and you can also affect the resonance. And you can, of course, link it to a parameter. Whatever you want. I mean, you can do that if you want. And then you can modulate the LFO, modulate the filter with an LFO. And this will randomize the types of LFO. So these kind of cycle through the available types of LFOs and types of filters. Now, the really interesting stuff is in the effects. So we've got 4 effects called orbit, space, dirt, and echo. And what they are is basically orbit is a flanger, space is reverb, dirt is a screamer distortion, and echo is delay. So you can turn each one of them on with these buttons, and then you can randomize their parameters here. So orbit, if we turn that on, and maybe if I'll turn down the modulation. So here's your flanger. And of course you can put as much as you want, maybe put the and then you can get space, which is your reverb. I'll turn the orbit off. You can randomize the parameters of the convolution reverb. And of course, if you hit the back and you want to change the actual impulse response, go to Insert Effects, and exchange the impulse response. They got one impulse response here, but you can exchange it with whatever you want and go from there. So there's always potential for expansion with this. And then you got Dirt, which is distortion. Put the release down a little bit. Turn it on. And if you have a look at what it's doing there, you got the screamer. And put these down a little bit. And this is the modulation. This is the... You see it down here. So what you can do is, if you sort of like where it's at but want to edit it a little further, hit the wrench, and you can go to the screamer, which is the Dirt, and play from there. And last but not least, there's Echo, which is delay. You can randomize the same thing as well. So what you see is doing, if you open up the delay, it's changing up your panning, changing up your damping, and your time, and your feedback. And yeah, so there's a lot of potential for manipulation there. So if we start off with this sound, resonate, put a bit of modulation, put a bit of flanger, orbit, a bit of space, a bit of Dirt, a bit of delay. Now see, that's all well and good, and you can do that, and one of the patches I designed, one of the patches, the 3 patches that I used, I actually designed it that way. So I played a little bit with all the parameters myself because I wanted a very specific sound. However, the other 2, what I did was hit the red button and see what came out. Literally, that's literally what I did. And the results can be very interesting and very fun to explore, and you literally don't know what you're gonna get, and that is part of the fun. Try it again. Because what it does is randomizes everything. Randomizes the envelope, the filters, the LFO, and all the effects. And the sound sources here, the Y and the X. And then if you like something, maybe you want to change something, so maybe change the release here. Maybe put a bit more space into it. And randomize again. Turn that down a little bit. Again, just do what you want with it. Another randomize. Let me turn the modulation down. That sound source is going crazy. Press it again, we don't know what we're gonna get. And sometimes what's gonna happen is it'll be silent, not because there's nothing happening or there's something broken. And they say this in the manual. Play with the envelope and the filter cutoff because that's probably what it's randomized. Oops. And be wary of that. So turn your speakers down if you're going to do this. So this is the thing, you're always kind of on the edge. You don't know what you're going to get, and it might be a little wacky, but that's fine. In the pursuit of this novelty and this complete chaos, you don't know what you're going to get. So we press it again. Press it again. And that's how I got these two pads. So I got this. By pressing the red button until something like this came, and then I started tweaking it a little bit to my taste. Same thing with the other patch, which was a bell tone. Excuse me. It's a whistle, actually. I call it a bell tone. I don't know why. Just did. And you got the X and the Y resources, sound sources, sorry, creating that little forest vibe. And that was it. So that's the beautiful thing. Now, I will look at the presets in a minute. Not all of them, because you don't need me to do that. The Zapzorn website has a great walkthrough of all the presets in it. But I'll also look at the fact that you can use this functionality with other samples if you want to. So, for example, I'll just pick something from the Kontakt factory library, a nylon guitar, right? Just something simple, no complicated scripting. It's literally just play and go. So that's a nylon guitar. Nice. What we can do is we can pull the samples out. So go to the group editor and the mapping editor. I'm just going to get the sustained samples, because I won't worry about the release for now. And in the mapping editor, right here, which, as you can see, I'll select them all. I'll copy it over. So I've pressed Control-C to copy it over. Now, I'll look at the group editor and the mapping editor. What I'm going to do is actually I'm going to reset the Solstice templates, so we just have a fresh thing that hasn't been messed around with. And if you see it now, it's just your initial patch. I'm going to replace that first sound source. It doesn't matter which sound source you replace, as long as you know which one it is. So we're going to put it instead of Distortia, I think, yeah. So I'm going to choose in the group editor Distortia, make sure that selected groups only is highlighted, otherwise you get all the samples. And I'm going to remove it. So I've selected it here and I'm pressing delete. And then I'm going to press Control V to paste, which you can still put it here. So now we got the guitar samples. So whenever you select Distortia, this could be anything. Whenever you select Distortia, we're going to get the guitar samples. Yeah, I messed that up. But yeah, so now I'll close up this guitar sample. So this is the only guitar sample. We had playing those same guitar samples through the Solstice Blue interface. Now I'll press the red button, and then I'll change the sound source back to Distortia. So now we're using the guitar samples for something. Press the red button again. And put Distortion back. It's a bit low, but that's fine. Come mess around with it and change the filter, maybe. Put the modulation down. Oh, and one of the things you might want to do is change the sample start. So in Distortia, in the back there's sample start here. So you get the full attack of the guitar if you need to. So whatever you do. Now put the space back. Put the red button on again. Put the attack down. Put it back to Distortion, which is the guitar. So as you can see, I've used a different sample, and you can use any of your own samples if you'd like. Just import them same way. Just for fun, let's get something a little more complex. Put the AG choir, for example. Choir? Yeah, we'll put the choir. Why not? And I'll just get the sustain, the sustains from the legato patch. So there's something you can do in your work. You can always cross-pollinate libraries. So what you can do is in the group editor, you got mapping editor, and you got this thing called pre-sustain. So I'm just going to select those, one of these groups. So this is just the sustain. I'm not thinking about the legato intervals, none of that, because I don't need to worry about that. I might get more involved if I need to, but I'm not going to worry about it. Now, I'm going to put that back instead of the Distortion. And let me just reload this Solstice Blue sample template. So I just have a fresh page. So same process, group editor, mapping editor. Select Distortion, delete, and Control V. So now we got the choir samples. And as I said, the samples start here. You gotta. Alright. And what I could do, maybe put this up a little. I think the volumes here are a little. Can just put the volumes. What we got is through the Solstice templates. New. We just got the choir samples, and I'm just going to stretch them so we can play with them as much as we want. So as you can see, there's not just a library of sounds, it's also tools. So where we have Distortion, we've got the choir now. And I can go ahead and just design it like that. Put a bit of space. That's fine. But let's press the red button and see what happens. So. Oh, there's a lot of... Let's not come from the choir. Hit the red button again. Put the choir back on. Press the red button. I'll put this. So that's the choir sound. So that's just two different samples from different libraries that I've used. You can put anything in there if you'd like. And I think that in itself is a fantastic function, a fantastic byproduct and result. And, you know, I enjoy being able to do that, being afforded the opportunity to do that through this library. So the $79 they're asking you for isn't just for the sounds that they've included. It's also for the way they've designed it, for their scripting, and for, you know, just, it's inspiring. And I think that's cool. Yes, sometimes because of the nature of it, it's a randomizer, you don't know what you're going to get. So you get a couple of those little glitches, not glitches, like things might get too loud or too soft. But if you know what you're doing and you know what these parameters are, and I hope that if you didn't, maybe I've explained them a little bit. And they've also explained them on the Zapzorn website, so, you know, double trouble for that. So yeah, I think it's very much worth what they're asking. But if you have a look at the collection of presets, it's a healthy collection, no shortage. And I'll just play a few. What do you got else? Distant Majesty. What else you got? Something like this is very useful, for example. I don't know, in a kind of synth hybrid track in really tense situations. And then at the end you got something like this. So there's no shortage of sounds. So if you didn't want to do any of this stuff yourself, knowing how this works, these people have crafted some great presets. Insects, why not? Moonbells. We got metallic bows. Strange days. Strings from hell. Combine this with some orchestral effects and you get really something heavy. Tribal ancestors. So yeah, so there's some of the tonal patches, atonal patches. Ooh, that was heavy. Okay, this one's a bit nasty. Carnival Trip. No, sorry. Carnival Trip. Oh, God. Are you afraid of the dark? A lot of these patch names really indicate what you would use it for. Power grid. It's exactly what you're thinking. Server banter. Martian craft. Like, I love the fact that these names are so straightforward, straight to the points. Time trip. Of course, this is what a time machine. This is what the DeLorean might have sounded like in a different lifetime. I don't know. Solar winds. So, in essence, we got Mermaid Cave. That's lovely. Yeah, I totally imagine mermaids there. Combine it with some really nice tonal stuff, and hey, there's mermaids. So, with all that said and done, I hope through the video you've kind of gained a perspective on the library, and that I've demonstrated what I say about it as much as I say what I say about it. So, and usually when I'm doing these reviews, I'm kind of assessing what are they advertising, and have they delivered on what they've advertised, and is the asking price fair? So for $79, what they're asking that for an incredible amount of customization, a master randomizer, and the ability to import your own samples into it is brilliant. So I'll never, if I really feel like running anything through it, I can. It's not an issue. And you know, their blurb says it's one-of-a-kind sound design tonal pad and atonal soundscape creation machine. Their presets prove that you know, there's a lot of pads and atonal soundscapes they can produce. They've taken core sounds and expanded them without limits by adding X and Y sound sources. And yes, they have. They've expanded these combinations through their own library. And with all the randomization of features, they say that it's one click away from creating a sound that only you have. Have they proven that? Yes, they have. Plus the library of presets that they have, I think $79 is a very fair price to pay for this really innovative idea. This whole, you know, just randomize everything. And can be a great way to come up with new sounds. And if you know anything, a lot of electronic musicians, you know, whether they're electronic in the pop sense or the dance sense, or they're electronic in the, you know, 21st century modern electroacoustic classical sense. They use all these different procedures to come up with new sounds. And for this to be a procedure to come up with a new sound, I think it's fantastic. And if you import any of your samples into it, the possibilities are actually endless. So as a tool, yes, they have delivered on what they've asked, and that's all I can ever ask from someone. If they've said we're gonna, we're gonna deliver a product that does this, and they do, and I feel that they have done, and that's how I award my points on the review. So there you have it, Solstice Blue from Zapzorn. I think it's a very innovative tool, and I think that's all there is to say from me. So I'm not going to take up more of your time. I hope you've enjoyed this review and the music and the sounds and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that it's been informative and, gives you a bit of insight into what is behind this library. So till next time, I'm Meena, and I will see you on another review for filmandgamecomposers.com. You want some more reviews, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we've also got a website, and you can see a whole bunch of written reviews as well, and interviews with other composers and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm going to leave you with this, so I'll see you guys later.